I'm gonna try something new. What you gonna do? Gonna try something new. What you gonna do? Ah, huh. Where we at, people? Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Uh, 1 2 1 2. I see one person in the house. I wonder who that be. I wonder who that be. Oh, I don't recognize that picture. You gotta throw a brother some hey, some what's ups. Say hey, how you doing? Hey, hey, how you doing? Hey, hey. What's up, ladies? Hey, Gwen. Hey, Victoria. I'm in here. I'm in here. I'm in here on time. Been doing some things. Been trying to get myself together here. I'm playing with my two little toys here. So guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off. A little music while now y'all know y'all have me acting a fool up in here, dancing and carrying on. That's one of the reasons why I have to use this damn thing for my neck. I get up in here, I'm trying to do all this craziness like we used to do. It felt good while I was doing it though, you know what I mean? So anyway, what's up, people? All you got to do now, express yourself. You know how I do. Whatever you do, do it good. Whatever you do, Lord. I almost feel like I need to apologize for last week, but by letting my emotions get the better of me. But folks, we had some crazy times, man, crazy as shit. So I gotta, just express myself. And sometimes when I do so, I get a little excited, I get a little overzealous, I get a little this, I get a little that. We had a spaceship go up this morning. In the jungle too. Everybody on the floor now. Yeah. Jumping like kangaroos. So let the horse do the thing they do. Shugga dooga dip bop. Shugga dooga doo. Shugga dooga dip dop. Shugga dooga dooga doo. And other people don't. But everything don't mean a thing if it ain't the damn thing you want. What's up, man? What's happening? Come on and do it. Y'all do it. Like your mama taught you. Hey. What's up, Nene? What's up, Lucy? What's up, Jason? Oh, folks, I'm hype. I'm hype. I'm hip hop hype. I'm rap school. I'm old school. I'm R&B hype. I'm jazz hype. I'm the blues in your left eye trying to be the funk in your right hype. I'm almost as bad as a penny with no hole in it. Y'all remember that old Love Jones joint? Woo, Lord! Folks, I'm gonna kill it, man. I'm gonna kill it. That'd be good. I should have let it go. Yo, I'm gonna go ahead and kill that noise, man. What's happening, folks? Y'all know that's my theme song. This is how I start to express myself. I have to get hype. I have to get ready for folks. Welcome to the night show. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hope everybody's doing all right. Like I said, I almost feel like I need to apologize, not because I was overcome with emotion and expression last week, but because as someone says, I kind of went off the rails. And it's because there's so much happening that we got to do something almost drastic to get this shit back somewhere close to normal, somewhere close to the middle. So with that, I'm gonna say I kind of added 2 new segments to my show's format. One is called This or That, where I'm gonna diss something where I feel like somebody was kind of the butthole of the week, and I'm honestly that is kind of fat. Well, I'm kind of praising somebody for what they did. They're moving the narrative, they're moving all of this in the right direction, and I think they're setting an example. So let's jump kind of into what this show is going to be about. Tonight, we've seen that the battle lines have been drawn. Joe is saying he's promising to build America back, but not just back like it was, better. So his theme, I think, is build back better. Trump, on the other hand, is trying to sell himself off as the law and order police. And he's doing that by endorsing these trigger-happy police and these hate mongers and what I call his goon squad riding the streets like a normal militia with no consequence. So I said a few weeks back about when you see these people, and this is the agitators that has been given Black Lives Matter a bad name. They come into the neighborhood, they come into the protests, and they take it to an extreme, knowing that protesters are going to be charged. Now they've went from covert to overt. They're just out there now. They don't care. So I hate to see fighting fire with fire, but we one trigger away. And it just is what it is. And let me make it abundantly clear. I don't endorse violence, but you know, if somebody come at me, I'm gonna do what I do because that's just where I'm from. Though I admire Martin, I'm a little bit more Malcolm. So with that being said, I'm not endorsing it, but I'm not endorsing some fool to be riding down the street with armed militias and M16s and long guns and shotguns and paintball guns and all of this other stuff with no consequence. So I understand what's going on. Meanwhile, while all this foolishness is going on and the battle lines being drawn between the 2 presidential parties, Black men are still dying at the hands of police. Just this last week, a young man died in LA. And it was the same thing. They're saying that he had a pistol or something, but here's the thing. How is an armed militia can ride the street, can exercise their First Amendment right to bear arms, and a Black man can? When he does, he's automatically a threat. So I'm just calling attention to some of the obvious bullshit that's out there. Meanwhile, Breonna Taylor's murderers are no closer to justice. We stand a better chance of discovering what happened to Jimmy Hoffa than we do of anybody, any police being held responsible for killing an innocent woman sleeping in a bed. So wrap your head around that. This is our America. To cap it all off, I told you guys last week, and this is one of the reasons I was overcome with emotion. I told you last week that there would be racists lining up to get this Rittenhouse racist, a Rittenhouse racist, the best dream team defense they could. And before I could end my podcast, it was happening. And I have no crystal ball. The shit is just common sense because he was a Trump supporter. Once they showed pictures of him being down front at a Trump rally, it was all over. Then Knucklehead, I call him numero uno, hate mongerer number one, Delusional Donnie, tried to reshape the narrative, talking about this boy was trying to defend himself. He had already shot and killed one person and shot another person when he got in a tussle. I don't even want to go there because it's going to take me over the edge. So this is what happens when you stack the police force. This is what happens when you stack the federal judgeships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We can get no justice. All right, let me get back on track. This week has been so topsy-turvy, I titled tonight's show, Silences the Black Lives Matters protesters and what makes a GOAT. So we're going to talk a little bit about these millennial athletes. Let's get it on. Folks, battle lines are drawn. We got a 2-horse race. Let me say that one more time. Battle lines are drawn. We got a 2-horse race. It's either Biden or it's Trump. So if you call yourself a progressive, if you call yourself a LMNOP, if you call yourself whatever, don't waste your vote. It's either one of these two people are going to be calling the shots for the next 4 years. And what we've seen with each progressive year, this knucklehead we call Delusional Donnie, I call him Trump thin skin, because it's amazing somebody can talk about so many people and then be so thin skinned when somebody talks about them. With every progressive year he's been in the White House, he's become more and more emboldened. He's become more and more racist. He's gone further and further and further off the rails. So we know what we're dealing with there. I've been saying since January the 21st, 2017, that Joe Biden is the Trump slayer. He's the person that can dethrone Trump, but he needs our help. Kamala, I need to say nothing about that. So I'm going to just tell you this. In order to dethrone Donnie, we have to have the college educated, the independent thinkers, and others to put their ideological differences aside and rally behind Joe and Kamala. The problem is we still have some rumblings of the so-called progressives. Donnie's sticking to what works for him. He's got hate and fear. Hate and fear. He already has the support of his base and a good portion of the Republicans. Working out, you don't know how many times I'm in the gym trying to keep my social distance, and somebody walks up to me and says, I'm a lifelong Republican, but I just don't like where we are. I just don't like all of the hate. And then I wind up getting into this quasi-philosophical, political education for some folks and saying this is nothing new. What we have is someone who brought it to the forefront and made it popular to be a racist. So we know what we have to do. I'm going to try to get in and get out because when I see what's happening, the other thing I said last week, I said we got about 60 days. Today is September the 3rd. It was the 3rd of September. No, we got 2 months. In 60 days, we're either going to have to shit. I'm going to have to find somewhere else to stay outside of this country. because I know I'm going to lose everything. Everything that I work hard for as a veteran, as a healthcare professional, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all going down the tubes. And I've got grandkids and kids that, but let's talk about one of my new segments. I'm going to try to lighten it up for you tonight. This or that. This, that shit. Or we going to talk about this is kind of fat. That's fat. In doing so, this week in this or that, we're going to take a look back at the millennial athletes. The millennials are fearless, and I'm loving it because it reminds me of when I was young, and I felt like I had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I fought with reckless abandonment, and that's what's happening right now. So we're going to look at some of the millennial athletes who have been kind of setting the tone and fighting the power. So yes, I wore my Muhammad Ali shirt because what made him great was not the fact that he could just fight. It was what he stood for. So his legacy, nobody will never remember how many fights he won or lost, but everybody's going to remember his legacy and what he stood for. You understand? And that's what it's all about. When you're blessed with a talent and you have a chance to make that talent shine, you have to use it to the utmost of your ability. And I see these millennial athletes doing just that. So let's take it backwards. Let's talk about 2016 when Steph Curry and Steve Kerr set a precedence. After they won the NBA championship, they refused to go to the White House. Shit made me feel so good. It made me feel so good because it needed to be done. It needed to be done. So I'm gonna tell you, that's fat. That's DAT fatter than a big booty girl with some liver shorts on. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm a man. Hey, look, don't hold it against me. Same year, Colin Kaepernick. We know he took a knee and he became the most hated and the most noticeable player to be blackballed since Ali. What it did, though, is it created what I call the Kaepernick effect, because now young millennials are no longer like Michael and Magic, who felt like if they did some of these things, if they were too outspoken, if they were too radical, they would lose endorsements. They would hurt the brand that they had created. So while we talking about Michael, who remembers back in 1992 when the Bulls won a championship? George H.W. Bush was in the White House. Michael was a no-show. MJ didn't show up. But what was more noticeable than Michael not being there was Craig Hodges in a white dashiki. And Craig is a whole nother kind of, Craig's so dark-skinned, Africans look at him and say, my brother, you are very black. So, but the thing about it is Craig had won the three-point championship 3 years in a row. So if you were sports fan, you know something about this. Craig had won 3 years in a row. We're talking about when Bird was still playing. We're talking about when Reggie Jackson was still playing. So we're talking about when there was really shooters. Craig Hodges was out of nowhere and won it 3 years in a row. It cost him dearly. Suddenly, he lost his contract with the Bulls, and he couldn't get picked up. So this is what preceded Kaepernick. And one of the reasons this happened, I feel, in my humble opinion, is because the Michaels and the Magics capitulated. They took a knee. They became the Negroes. And this Negro word, like I told you, they stay on their knees so long that the kneecaps start to grow roots. James Brown said, and I'm black and I'm proud, he said, I'd rather die on my feet than to live on my knees. So with these millennials, that's fat. Who remembers when Michael thought more of his Nike brand when he was with the Dream Team? Reebok sponsored the uniforms for the Dream Team, but Michael had a Nike contract. So him and some others decided to take the American flag. They weren't being patriotic. They were covering the Reebok logo, on their uniforms. So if Michael decided to stand up for a brand, why didn't he stand up for something that really mattered? So, Mike, I've been dissing you. What you did on the court was phenomenal. But as a man, your morals are very sketchy. This. Some of the new millennials, LeBron has been deemed the face of the NBA. Now, I was hard as hell on LeBron because at times he plays like a bully, you know. Michael and Magic tried to raise LeBron and Kobe up in their image, and everything was about the game. And the thing that LeBron and Kobe did is they did things within their communities. They did things, they gave money to so many different causes to uplift a community. Not saying that Magic, especially Magic, did his theaters and he gave jobs and he put money into Black neighborhoods, so I applaud him for that. But the one time Magic decided to stand up was when his son came out. So it took his son being gay and coming out of the closet for Magic to talk about human rights. LeBron is the face of the NBA. LeBron has been a thorn in their side. I don't know if he'll ever be on the court the greatest. I don't know if he'll ever win as many rings as MJ did. I don't know if he'll ever have that kind of clout, but it's a different time. We exist in a different time. Back then, there was no competition. There was no 24-hour news channel. There was no 24-hour sports channel. There was no constant changing of the narrative and what's hot for the next 5 minutes. So, to LeBron, all I can say is, brother, that's fat. Let's move on. We talk about the Kaepernick effect. Today's millennial pro athletes are being supported by corporations who realize something. Social issues sells. It sells merchandise. And the world is ready to be changed. The world is ready for a change, you know. Gone are the days when Michael and Magic chose to protect their brand over social issues that affected Black people, that affected gay people, that affected women. You understand? Everybody remembers when Michael was asked about Black issues. And when you know what he said? Republicans buy sneakers too. They said he was joking. No, he was not joking. I posted something today talking about Michael investing in all of this money of $40,000 or $40 million, I'm sorry, in private jails and what have you. Now, back then they tried to say it was a white Michael Jordan and it was this and it was that. And I don't know if I said Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan. So, senior moment, you know what I'm talking about. When I say MJ, I'm talking about Michael Jordan. After Michael said what he said, Michael held a summer sports program, a clinic, a basketball clinic for the wealthy. They got to spend a day or two with Michael Jordan at the tune of $50,000 a pop. If I could do anything for black folks, the two things I would do, and they run one and one. There's no second. First of all, I would warn us, and I say this time and time and week in, week out. If we could come together and do like our Jewish brothers do, when something affects one Jew, it affects all of them. And they all come to the ready. They all circle their wagons. They all talk about being anti-Semitic. And that's the one thing we have to do. The other thing that I would do, and Michael Jordan would be at the top of the list. If I could somehow, in the mind of black folks, devalue the motherfucking Air Jordan sneakers, I would do it today. And I said what I said, and I meant what I said. This man does not give a flying false staff about who gets his sneakers, how they get it, whatever. The only time he's spoken out publicly, reel me in, I'm reeling myself in. The only time he spoke out publicly was a couple months ago at the peak of Black Lives Matter. It was popular to say he didn't feel like it would affect his brand, so he said something. Last week, when LeBron, when the Bucks, when the Magic, when the Lakers, when that other team in LA, and I'm just messing with them, I make jokes about it. But when these boys started to come together and talk about changing things by canceling the rest of the season, Michael, as one of the team owners, talk about the money that they would be losing. And he told them, get back to doing what they're doing. And he called on some of the black coaches to come in and speak and said, we can still do this, but we need to do our job. So that's where we are. I've got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. We got 60 days to get it together, folks. 60 days of this man is going to get even worse into his second term. Last week, when these millennial athletes try to rise up, we realized, sadly, it's a contract negotiation year. So they were forced to go back. So they're playing out the playoffs. I've not watched. I've been boycotting professional sports for more than, well, since they gave Peyton Manning a ring and sent them out in a hail of glory. There's no way Carolina should have lost the Super Bowl. But it is what it is, and I've been boycotting since. Every now and then, my quandary, my paradox, the thing that hurts me is I know by me and others boycotting, we're hurting some of the black athletes. But it's all that I can do. When I start to talk about the disses, I'm talking about the Charles Barkleys. I'm talking about the Shaquille O'Neals. I'm talking about when Shaq first came out, he was about TWISM and the world is mine and doing something to uplift the youth and this, that, and the other. And now he's become a professional pitch man, the general, Papa John's. I've not eaten, and I don't plan on eating a Papa John's pizza, and I'm begging you to do the same. They've been bragging that since Shaq has come on board, they've had a financial turnaround, and they've had the best quarter in about 3, 4, 5 years. Papa John's CEO was the one who bragged about paying for George Zimmerman after he killed Trayvon Martin. And I've not had a Papa John pizza since. And we collectively have hurt them in the only way that matters to corporate America in their economic bottom line on that balance sheet. So let's make these black athletes feel the burn. My last diss, who remembers when Charles Barkley went to Nike with a "I am not a role model"? That was his campaign. And out of that, he got a shoe. It didn't last for long because it wasn't just black folks. It was a lot of folks. It was folks of all colors said, like it or not, our children watch you. And what you do, it determines how they behave. So it's my last diss. Imagine if we could stop bickering over petty shit. Imagine if we could unite behind Biden. And imagine what happens if we don't. If we have 4 more years of this imbecile. Because our liberty, our happiness, and our lives do not matter. So with that, I'm going to tell you this. This is the last word. We've got 60 days. And the smear campaign, what they call social engineering, is in full swing. You're going to hear all of this stuff about this one and that one and why this one is, and you know it's lies because we've heard it all before. The other reason I was so pissed last week is because during the Democratic National Convention, all I heard was complaints about why this is the wrong person and why this is the wrong selection. But during the Republican National Convention, we saw Negroes for sale. We saw Trump telling the same old lies. And I heard nothing. I heard crickets from a lot of the people out there. The same people that's been complaining that he's not their president. So 60 days, let's come together. Let's avoid this smear campaign that's designed to divide and conquer. We know what the alternative is. The other thing is this. Black Lives Matter is no longer front page news. So it's up to us to push it. It's up to us to push the narrative. It's up to us to make sure that it stays in the consciousness. And we do that by supporting some of these millennials. Last thing, after they started talking about defunding the police came back with a vengeance. And it seems like every 5 to 7 days, somebody is getting shot or killed by a cop somewhere. Sometimes it's on camera and sometimes it's not. I've been telling you there are agitators and these people coming within our communities and committing crimes. Where are our thugs? Where are our gangsters? How do you let someone come into our neighborhood and do this? How we support this campaign moving forward? My organization is going to be talking about developing policy so that we'll have something to bring to the new administration. So that's one of the things I'm working on. My organization is going to be talking about partnering with some of these new millennials and giving them ways of sustainable ideas and issues and how to make it happen so we're not just reacting, we're being proactive and we're talking about getting something done. This is how we make things happen. Folks, I'm going to reel it in before I wig out. I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting me. I want to thank everybody for rocking with me for the last year and a little bit more than that. I want to thank you especially for coming back after I went off the rails last week. I'm not apologizing for my emotion. I'm apologizing because I have a message that I have to put out there. And when I become that emotional, the message is not as effective. It's not communicated as effectively. So for that, I apologize, folks. But thank you for letting me be who I be. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your love every week, week in, week out. If you're not already there, I want you to go to my YouTube channel. I want you to sign up. I want you to hit subscribe. I want you to ring that bell, kang-a-lang-a-lang, so that when I post something, you will know that it's there. And pretty soon I'm going to be taking this from Facebook and taking it to YouTube. With that, I want to say, see you next week. Same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. As always important, love, baby, peace, and like your man, Mad Hair Grease. I'm out of here, folks. Y'all have a good night. Be safe out there. Much love to everybody. One love. One love. One love. And